This is Plant-Based Briefing, Dear Farmer, Part 1 by Jordi Casamitjana at VeganFTA.com. And I'm Marian Erickson. This is the Plant-Based Podcast where I curate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living, get permission, and narrate them to you here in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. But this episode would have been longer than that, so it's a two-parter. I'll read Part 1 today and come back tomorrow for the second half. So now let's get to today's Plant-Based Briefing. Dear Farmer, Part 1 by Jordi Casamitjana at VeganFTA.com. Thank you for your service. I know that you are a business person running a farm either by yourself and your family or in a cooperative. But even if that may be to sustain yourself and your loved ones and make some profit for their future, I believe you are a service provider too. You produce ingredients for food and medicines, as well as materials for textiles and household products. Therefore, you are providing an important service for the communities that need such consumables to survive and thrive. Although often the term service provider is used for those that offer intangible services to others rather than producing goods, I think this term is also applicable when such goods are essential for survival. Food and clothes are indeed essential goods for modern humans, and you farmers of the world are essential in their production. I know many people forget this. I've forgotten this myself many times, taking you for granted. If you feel that you are underappreciated, that you are unfairly considered a less important part of society, or that your struggles to produce the service we expect from you are ignored, I apologize on behalf of all non-farming people like myself. I am not a farmer. I grow some of my vegetables in my yard, but they're just for me, not for other members of society, and it's more like a hobby than a subsistence project. So although I have enjoyed the reality of growing plants and consuming what they produce, I could not be called a farmer under any definition. Therefore, I cannot really put myself in your position, trying to understand how difficult your chosen profession is and how much effort you need to put in to make it work. I know that many people look down on farmers like you, especially urban people, because they may think that you are less educated and sophisticated. They may think that you are less technologically savvy and have fewer useful skills. I know this is not true. Many farmers have got formal agriculture education, sometimes higher education such as agronomy or agroforestry, but even if they received only informal education from other family members who have been farmers all their lives, this does not mean that such education is less valuable. On the contrary, hands-on education trumps theory and abstract thought when it comes to producing stuff in the real world. Farmers like you have a much better understanding of reality than most urbanites because you are in closer contact with the natural world and its processes. You understand better how natural systems work because you see them functioning with your own eyes. You know better where the ingredients and materials people use come from. You understand biology much better than the average human because your knowledge of life is crucial for your profession. I don't doubt that an average farmer is more likely to survive if stranded on a desert island than an average non-farmer, and this may be a good test of truly useful skills. As far as technology is concerned, since farming started more than 10,000 years ago, this profession has been intrinsically linked to cutting-edge technology, so farmers are indeed techno-proficient. For instance, farmers have been experts on the technology of domestication of plants and animals since around 10,000 BCE, development of irrigation systems 6,000 to 3,000 BCE, using tools to oxygenate the soil around 3000 BCE, using tools to harvest efficiently, the Bronze Age 3000 to 1200 BCE and the Iron Age 1200 to 500 BCE, using crop rotation systems and the three-field system from the ancient to medieval periods, developing mechanical seed drills, the Jethro Tull 1701, mechanization of farming, 19th century's mechanical reaper, steel plow, tractors, etc., fertilizing crops, the mid-19th century, hybrid crops, the 1930s, green revolution technologies, the 1940s to 60s, precision agriculture and GPS-guided machinery, the 1990s, genetically modified crops, the 1990s onward, robotics and automation in farming, the 21st century, vertical farming, and controlled environment agriculture, the 21st century, and now AI-driven agriculture. You farmers are bioengineers who can grow plants where nothing grows, can multiply the amount of food living organisms can produce, can preserve natural foods and fibers for posterity against the tide of evolutionary change, can scale up horticulture interventions and agrarian discoveries, and can produce the colors, tastes, smells, textures, shapes, feels, and properties that people want for their products within the cultural restrictions of any ethnic community. That's quite something, I would say. I know that farmers are not at the bottom of society in terms of importance. They are at the top. And if I ever find myself in trouble in the countryside, I hope that whoever may come to aid me is a farmer like you rather than a city dweller. So I respect you as a person. I know your worth as an entrepreneur, and I understand your value within humanity. This is why I am certain that you will understand the meaning of this open letter I address to you and to all other farmers of the world. Through history, farmers like you have learnt to adapt to the winds society moves them by and to incorporate new scientific and cultural advancements that civilization brought along. In fact, one can say that the farmers were the progressive people who brought civilization to the early hunter-gatherers, so you are not averse to change. As such, I am sure you are already aware that a big change is on the way. I am sure that you have perceived the shifting modern society is experiencing and how global issues are directing the new farming dynamics more than ever. I am sure you have already noticed the difference in the markets you traditionally relied upon. You can see reality better than others can, so by now I am sure that you have already understood that the time of the farming of animals is coming to an end, and the transition from animal-based to plant-based agriculture is inevitable. You just listened to Dear Farmer Part 1 by Jordi Casamitjana at VeganFTA.com, and I'm your host, Marian Erickson. Tune in tomorrow for the second half of this episode, where you'll hear more reasons why farmers should be making the change and a list of resources they can use to help make that transition and just get more information. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.